Sego Akwesasne, wat kwam holade. Regis ha is alade, I do wagelo china hodo, soon you go yote. Can't you got the jahaya. I regia Akwesasne is one of Tunyu than as what the garita. Negi why Tonga gerate, what kwam holade.
Yesterday, on April 7th, the Tribal Council passed a resolution to adopt a stay-at-home order and other rules. A public notice was issued last night and can be found on our social media and our website. We will now read the resolution, which can also be found on the tribe's website. Tribal Council Resolution 2020-23. State of emergency for community of Akwesasne, adopt stay-at-home order and other rules. Whereas the St. Regis Mohawk Tribal Council is a duly recognized governing body of the St. Regis Mohawk Tribe and is responsible for the health, safety, education, and welfare of all community members. And whereas on March 16th, 2020, in response to the ongoing novel coronavirus pandemic, the Tribal Council adopted a resolution to declare a state of emergency for the community of Akwesasne, which remains in effect until the COVID-19 pandemic no longer poses a threat to the health, safety, and welfare of the Akwesasne community. Whereas in accordance with the Akwesasne Joint Emergency Operations Plan, the Tribal Council and the Mohawk Council of Akwesasne will coordinate efforts and call upon external resources as necessary to promote the health, safety, and well-being of the Akwesasne community. Whereas the Tribal Council and MCA have each partially activated an emergency operations center with expansion based on future developments. And whereas in TCR 2020-18, the Tribal Council executed a closure order for the Akwesasne Mohawk Casino effective March 17th, 2020, which will remain closed until the Tribal Council issues a further notice. And whereas on March 18th, 2020, the Tribal Council adopted TCR 2020-19, State of Emergency for the community of Akwesasne, protocols for business and community members, based on recommendations from health officials to take further precautions in order to protect the community, impose certain restrictions for on-premise alcohol licenses, restaurants, non-essential facilities, and large gatherings of 25 people or more. And whereas there are now confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the surrounding counties, Cornwall, Ontario, as well as one confirmed case in Akwesasne, with projections for number of confirmed cases to increase. And whereas the Tribal Council now wishes to take further action for the tribe to respond quickly to COVID-19 threat to the community of Akwesasne as developments arise. And whereas the Tribal Council, based upon recommendations from health officials and the EOC, wants to ensure the maximum number of people self-isolate in their place of residence to the maximum extent possible, while enabling essential services to continue to slow the spread of COVID-19 to the greatest extent possible.
Now therefore, be it resolved, pursuant to TCR 2020-17, the St. Regis Mohawk Tribal Council hereby declares and adopts the following rules. 1. All individuals currently living on the southern portion of the St. Regis Mohawk Reservation are ordered to stay at home or at their place of residence with limited exceptions. Everyone must stay home between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. with the limited exception of anyone performing essential services and essential government functions. Number 2, businesses shall close at 9 p.m. to allow residents and employees to adhere to the 10 p.m. curfew. Number 3, do not gather at private residences for social gatherings to include birthdays or other celebrations. Nothing herein prohibits the gathering of members of a single household or residence. Number 4, anyone returning to Akwesasne from beyond a 50-mile radius is to self-quarantine at home. This includes those who traveled for non-essential and essential purposes, including for work, vacation, school, release from incarceration, or other reasons. During the self-quarantine, stay away from sick people and do not visit others, particularly the vulnerable members of our community, such as our elders and those with underlying medical conditions. Throughout the self-quarantine period, you should monitor your symptoms 3 times per day, which includes taking your temperature and keeping an eye out for a sustained reading of 100.4 degrees or more, coughing, shortness of breath, or difficulty breathing. If you have these symptoms, please call the tribe's medical clinic at 518-358-3141, extension 7130. Remember to call first. Number 5, anyone may leave his or her home or place of residence for essential activities as follows. A, perform tasks essential to his or her health and safety or to the health and safety of his or her family or household members, such as, by way of example, seeking emergency services, obtaining medical supplies, medication, or visiting a healthcare professional. And B, obtain necessary services or supplies for himself or herself and his or her family or household member, or to deliver those services or supplies to others, such as, by way of example, only and without limitation, groceries and food, takeout food, gasoline, household consumer products, supplies to work from home, and products necessary to maintain the safety, sanitation, and essential operation of a residence. And C, engage in outdoor activity, provided that any individual must comply with the 6 feet distance social distancing requirement, by way of example and without limitation, walking, hiking, running, or biking. And D, to care for family members, friends, or pets in another household, and to transport family members or friends to obtain necessary services, supplies, or emergency services.
Number 6, essential operations include, but are not limited to, hospitals, clinics, pharmacies, healthcare organizations, reproductive health care providers, mental health and substance abuse providers, other healthcare facilities and suppliers and providers of any related or ancillary healthcare services, field offices that provide and help to determine eligibility for basic needs, including food, cash assistance, medical coverage, rehabilitation services, and businesses that provide food, shelter, and social services, or other necessities of life for economically disadvantaged individuals. Food production, distribution and sale, stores that sell groceries and medicines, gas stations, auto supply stores, hardware stores, solid waste and recycling collection and removal, all first responders, emergency management personnel, emergency dispatchers, correction officers, law enforcement, child protection and child welfare personnel, and other governmental employees working to support essential businesses and operations, or any other essential function, business, or operation identified by the EOC. 7, any individual whose residence is unsafe or becomes unsafe, such as a victim of domestic violence, is permitted and urged to leave his or her home and stay at a safe alternative location. 8, when utilizing a shared or outdoor space, including the Watahida walking trail, you must remain 6 feet away from any other individual. Number 9, generations, park, fields, playgrounds, and lacrosse box shall remain closed. Number 10, all non-essential travel outside of a 50-mile radius is discouraged. Any necessary essential travel should comply with all social distancing requirements. Anyone returning from such travel must self-quarantine for a minimum of 14 days. And be it further resolved, pursuant to TCR 2020-17, the St. Regis Mohawk Tribal Council hereby, 1, delegates authority to the Emergency Operations Center to take any further actions necessary to protect the community, and 2, directs the Emergency Operations Center to reevaluate and renew the above rules pursuant to an EOC directive every 5 days, and be it finally resolved, this resolution supersedes TCR 2020-19, is effective upon signing, and shall remain in effect unless modified, canceled, or otherwise superseded.
We understand that this is a difficult time for everyone. Families, essential workers, those who are impacted by layoffs, and the local businesses. We are doing our best and are focusing our actions to care for the community's vital needs. We send a nyaogoa to the businesses who are enacting safety measures and cooperating with the 9 p.m. closure. We especially thank our first responders, healthcare workers, essential workers, frontline staff, and everyone who is working to keep Akwesasne safe.
We would like to remind community members that the regular Tribal Council work sessions and Tribal monthly meetings are suspended until the state of emergency is lifted. Also, the Election Board has issued a public notice that the 2020 Tribal Caucus that was scheduled for May 2nd and the Tribal election scheduled for June 6th has been postponed. The Board will announce new dates when the state of emergency is lifted.
The tribe's operating hours are 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Some programs are closed. Please call ahead. A list of program closures will be shared on our social media and our website. This audio will also be shared on CKON. We will also be on CKON on Monday, April 13th at 10 a.m. with an extensive update. Please tune in. Stay home, stay safe, Akwesasne.